to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I am your host, Noah Love, and today or this morning, I've been studying finals, all that. Thought I'd just come at you. It is Friday morning, so not the greatest time, but I just got done watching Lions and Packers. Lions 12-1 going to the playoffs, but this is going to be strictly a college football episode. NFL, we can get into all that. Look, there's a big week next week. I know it's a big week this week. I can review the games, all that, or I can put out another episode. But this strictly college football because, first of all, we need to go out quick recap of rivalry week and then talk about this new CFP top 25, which is an absolute joke to me. Uh, and then we could talk about these conference title games, just rivalry week. Here's what we will be talking about on the pod today. Here's what we'll be talking about on the pod today. Michigan stuns Ohio State 13-10. Should Ryan Day be gone? Give you my thoughts on that. Flag planting causes fights. Spoiler alert, if you don't, how I feel. If you don't want them to plant their flag on your field, how about you beat them? We'll talk about that. South Carolina stuns Clemson on the back of Lenore Sellers in the late second. Superman. Give you my thoughts on that. Penn State punches their ticket to Indy, beating Maryland 44-7. Notre Dame beats USC to punch their ticket to the playoff. Syracuse knocks off Miami. Huge. Syracuse sneakily 9-3, having a great year. Miami, tough blow. Bama won in the Iron Bowl 28-14. Texas beats Texas A&M 77. Look, off the back of their defense. Offense wasn't great. They did run the ball really well, but I think Texas, they're peaking, man. They also punched their ticket to the SEC title game against Georgia, who played a thriller. Georgia Tech game of the year on that Friday night, that Black Friday. Iowa State and Arizona State are going to the Big 12 title game. Iowa State won. They won first ever season in program history with 10 wins. They got that, and they go into the Big 12 title game. Arizona State kind of crept up from out of nowhere, made a late run. They're in the Big 12. They're in the Big 12 title game, and winner is in. Winner is in. I will talk about obviously new CFP top 25 is a joke. Iowa State versus Arizona State preview. Boise State versus UNLV preview. That's today. Funny enough, Georgia versus Texas preview. Clemson versus SMU preview. Penn State versus Oregon preview. The Big Ten title game. The ACC title game. The SEC title game. The Mountain West title game and the Big 12 title game. We will preview. And now let's get into it. Michigan stuns Ohio State. Should Ryan Day be gone? If this was a 14 playoff, if I was the AD, he would have been gone. But it's a 12 team and they're going to be in. So he's got to get to at least the national title game or even win the whole thing to keep his job, because the roster that you've assembled and you coach so conservatively, I think what happened in this game was they got scared because Will Howard, he threw the one pick and Michigan returned it to the one, made it 7-3 early. They had that one pick, and then he had a bad one in the close to the red zone, but Davis Warren gave it right back. And then on that next drive, they were playing conservative for field goal, and the kicker missed it, and so they were playing conservative for the rest of the game. Look, Ryan Day can't lose this. He just couldn't. 4 straight years of you not being able to win this game now, which means 4 straight years. All you had to do would beat the worst Michigan team in years, and you couldn't do that. Look, there was no shame in losing to Harbaugh. Harbaugh's one top 10 coaches on the planet. We know that. We know that. Look at him in the NFL now with the Chargers. They're 8-4. They're most likely going to the playoff. We know that. No issue there. You cannot lose to Sharon Moore. And granted, Sharon Moore, I think he's going to be a really good coach. Look, down season because he didn't go and get a quarterback in the portal. But no Will Johnson, who was the best corner. No Colson Love. Michigan played the only way they could have won, which was we're going to run the ball. We're not going to throw the ball a lot. We're going to play great defense. We're going to hold them under 17, and we're going to hope that's how we can get it done. And that's how they got it done. Props to Michigan. Props to you. Heck of a game. Ohio State, that was disgraceful. Mainly the Ohio State offense. Chip Kelly and Ryan Day. And look, I get the record and all that, but this isn't a firing. Like, when we're talking about firing, I'll give you an example. Firing James Franklin from Penn State and firing Ryan Day from Ohio State, to me, those are two different conversations. To me, firing Franklin would be a mistake because now he's in the Big Ten title game. But I believe it's hard to win 10, 11 games every year at Penn State, whether it's at Ohio State. You can win 10, 11 games every year like that because you can recruit, because of the brand, the stadium, the game. Everybody knows all that. It'll be easy to get kids. I think you could do that. I think you could get a lot of talent. Is never the issue. It's now coaching. To me, you can win 10, 11 games at Ohio State. Easy every year. Penn State, I don't think you can do that as easy. I mean, did you see Penn State before Franklin got there? Franklin builds programs. Look, and the players love him. They play for him, regardless of what you think about him in the big games. And look, people can be like, well, he didn't have to beat Ohio State to get in. Well, the reason they got in is because they were the most consistent team outside of Oregon that entire year. They had one loss, granted, it was to Ohio State, but they have been the most consistent team. They have just been in the background, winning games, winning games, winning games. A team slips up, Indiana slips up, Ohio State slips up, they get in. Great job. But should Ryan Day be gone? If you get bounced in the first round, I think you gotta go. Now I know there's rumors about Urban. Y'all, Urban's not coming back. He's not coming back. He's retired. Look, as great as Urban is, look, Urban's gonna run into the same issues as Saban. Saban got out of this for a specific reason. 72. Probably lost the fire to coach, or plus the transfer portal, that in NIL is forcing coaches to get out the game in both college basketball and college football. But sure, Ryan Day be gone. Look, the conversation. Look, if you just looked at the stats of these games, and I'm reading them out, Davis Warren threw for 62 yards. Michigan threw for 62 yards, and they beat you. I'm sorry. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. Look, I get it. It's a rivalry game, league game, whatever. But you just simply cannot lose it. Look, shout out Khalil Mullins, who basically was forced to put the team up back. 32 carries, 116, and a touchdown. It's it's insane. I think it's a mental game. I think it's mental. By the way, Ohio State finished fourth in the conference. Uh, just to put that into context, obviously Oregon, Penn State finished ahead. Indiana also finished ahead of them. A team that they also beat, but they were trolling Google that. Kurt Signetti gets a $500,000 raise, or and Indiana, who beat Purdue 66-0, by the way, clinched a spot in the playoff. Pretty much, so yeah, Ohio State. I'm not gonna lie, this is bad. But you've got 3 weeks, maybe playing this week and having this week off. Maybe giving your players time to just reflect, maybe get refreshed, and potentially go on a run here. Maybe that's a good thing. I'm trying to find a silver lining. Can we put it real? You've been getting your butt kicked for the past 4 years by these fools, and that's what it is. And people are saying fire Ryan Day. Look, I was of the camp last year. Look, Harbaugh most likely won't be there next year. Let's see what he does next year. If he doesn't beat him and it costs him a Big Ten title berth, then we can have the conversation. Well, now we should have the conversation. Just saying, flag planting causes. Look, I'm not gonna show the videos. Y'all done seen them everywhere. I look. I just think to provide context. Look, is planting a flag on an opponent's field disrespectful, especially in a rivalry? Yes, but the players mean it as disrespect. They're saying we. If you've ever heard the song "Walk in Your Trap, Take Over Your Trap," they're saying we walk in your trap, take over your trap, and we're gonna plant our flag at midfield to show that this ain't your house. This our house. If you don't want them to do that, beat them. Look at Indiana, 66-0, Purdue demoralized. Now I do like what Sarkisian did in the Texas A&M game, saying there's a certain way we want to win. Don't. There's a certain way we want to win. We expected to win this game. Why are we shocked? I like that. There's a certain way that he wants his program and his kids to conduct themselves. I personally like that. People are gonna say it's soft. Da, 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 da. I like that. That's cool. But the flag planting, I don't have an issue with it. If you don't like it, then beat them. And you plant your flag at the middle of the field, saying they tried to come in here, they couldn't take it from us. This is our house. If they plant the flag in the middle of the field, if you win and you plant your flag at the middle of the field and you're the home team, there's no fight. Da 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 da. Go to Michigan, going to a lot. People, I don't promote fighting or anything like that, but it's stupid. I just think the whole conversation, like you're expecting 18, 19, 20-year-old kids to think rationally after they just lost a rivalry game, especially like Michigan, Ohio State, and that's such a big rivalry. And you and they in Michigan plants their flag, and you expect Ohio State kids to be go like, but you will be the same people that they didn't defend their turf, calling them soft, wherever. Let's move on. So there wasn't a fight in this game. South Carolina defeats Clemson 17-14. This kid, Lenore Sellers, I put on my IG story, up on my IG link and this stuff in the description. A star was made, and a star was indeed made in this game. For context, he threw 13, 21, 164. Well, how's that star made? He used his legs as well. 16 for 66, 2 touchdowns. Him and Raheem Sanders really good. Like I'm gonna actually show y'all the touchdown real quick. I'm gonna go ahead. Because Let me tell you, this right here was incredible touchdown run to put them up. This whole game was a defensive battle. Look at this. Look at this run here, bro.
Time for Sellers. Eludes the pressure. There he goes. Lenore Sellers again to the end zone. He made it.
South Carolina finishes on 6-game winning streak. And look, people, regardless CFP or not, we'll get into that. We'll get into the debate. South Carolina, if they have that kid next year, which I'm pretty sure they will, because I know he's a freshman and everything, but you don't know what's transferable. If they keep that kid, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. They'll be good. Clemson, tough loss that pretty much eliminated you from an at-large bid, but it didn't eliminate you from a playoff bid because Syracuse stunned Clemson 42-38. I'll get into my thoughts on that later. To finish my thoughts on this game, heck of a game by Sellers, putting the team on his back. South Carolina's defense played really well. With Klubnik, he's been playing some decent football. He's been playing some decent football. And in this game, even the pick at the end, that's not his fault. Look, I think I think SMU matches up well with Clemson, but I think Clemson can give them a fight by any means. They're going to have to control Kate Klubnik, but we'll get into more of that. Penn State, they beat Maryland 44-7. Not much to say. They punched their ticket to Indy. Big time win. Big time win. Franklin going to the Big Ten title game. Let's move on. Notre Dame beats USC 49-35. Look, I know Notre Dame, this wasn't the best performance from their defense, right? I'd be in there, but boy, is Notre Dame physical. Boy, the physicality that Notre Dame has shown week in, week out. I don't know if they're fooling me this time, but I really like this team. I think they can make a run. Now, obviously, it depends on the bracket and all that. We'll get into all that, but I really think they can make a legit run at this. You look at it, they have the O-line. Now, I know in the secondary, Benjamin Morrison, their best corner, not being there, that hurts, obviously, but I like Riley Leonard. Obviously, I like the receivers. I like Jeremiah Love in the backfield. I just like Notre Dame, the physicality they play with, especially up front, and embodies their head coach. I think Marcus Freeman has done a terrific job. I think they go. Obviously, this is a year where anybody can beat anybody. If I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm thinking, why not us? So, Notre Dame, you're going to the playoff. Depending on some results, you'll be a 5 or 6 seed. Well done. Well done. Bama wins the Iron Bowl 28-14. They weren't impressive in this game. This game should have been a blowout considering Auburn's inability to score in the red zone, but the turnovers, Bama's turnovers are an issue, and Milroe turning the ball over, and it's been an issue all year. But it's just they should have. This is a game they should have won by 3-4 scores because Auburn just really on the offensive end couldn't really get going. Defense played well. Turnovers. Excuse me. I mean, Alabama ran for 201 yards, and look, I think that's what you gotta do. You gotta be able to get a balance in there, it's a good win. Always nice to win in the Iron Bowl. They're 9-3. We'll get to it, man. We'll get to it, man. Syracuse knocks off Miami. Miami had 21-0 lead, and they blew it. I thought Kyle McCord was the problem at Ohio State. According to Ohio State fans, yeah, he wasn't the problem. Him and Cam Ward, he went toe to toe with Cam Ward. You can make the argument now, play Cam Ward. McCord was 26 for 36, 380, three touchdowns, no picks. In the second half, he was just dropping dime after dime after dime. That Carrier Dome was electric. Cam Moore, 25 for 36, 349, two touchdowns, no picks. They ran the ball well, ran the ball for 154. They had three touchdowns. Look, Restrepo, Jacoby George, incredible games. But shout out to Fran Brown and Syracuse. The way they were able to fight back in this game. And look, this Miami reminds me of 2023 LSU. Jaden Daniels wants the Heisman, but the reason they don't do anything is because of their defense. Cam Ward having it's just, you know, he won't win the Heisman, but he's been best quarterback. So he's having a Heisman type season, all that. Gonna go get drafted, you know this, and you waste it because your defense can't stop a cold. Miami, it's tough. Should be in the ACC title game. Should be playing SMU, but you're not. It's Clemson now. Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow if I'm a Miami fan. By the way, the decision for Cristobal, he trusted his defense. He trusted his defense there. Look, fourth and goal from 10. ACC title game on the line, potentially season on the line. Don't kick it. Go for it. Put the ball in Cam Ward's hands. And if he goes and makes a play, or if he doesn't, you'll live with it. They don't. They kick it, make it 42-38. Syracuse runs out the clock. Syracuse's receivers in the one-on-ones were just fantastic. Fantastic. Massive upset there. Texas beats Texas A&M 17-7. The defense by Texas was great. Texas A&M, if their offense could do something, they would have in this game. They could have won it, but Texas, I know they had a scare there late, but they were in control the entire game. Here, let's look here. The entire game. I mean, Ewers only threw for 218. Marcel Reed did not have the best game. Obviously, but he's young, freshman. He was 16 for 26.46. Look, Texas A&M, it's a tough pill to swallow. 8-4. Look, Mike Elko, good first year. I think they'll be back. I think they will be back with a good team. Look, in the SEC. Look, I know, but I think Mike Elko's building something there, and they're going to be able to compete. Just this year, it wasn't meant to be. Just wasn't meant to be. Shout out Texas in that run game. That was their run game here. Let me go back and check this because I know Wisner, who he ran for 186. You weren't expecting that. Yeah, running for 243, really putting the run game on their back. Their pass game hasn't that offense hasn't really kicked into the gear I thought it would. Maybe they can, maybe they will, but great win for Texas. Iowa State won, obviously Arizona State won. That's the Big 12 title game. And Georgia beats Georgia Tech. Look, people, it was, let's be real, in this game, people are going to be like, well, Georgia Tech should have won. It was a ref show. I agree. It was a ref show, but that wasn't the reason that they lost. The reason they lost the game is because Haynes King fumbled, nice, great hit in the hole by Dan Jackson, the senior coming up, making the hit, getting the win. And another reason why is you couldn't convert a 2-point conversion. You just couldn't convert one. It is what it is. Look, Georgia Tech came in and they fought hard. The rivalry's back, and Georgia Tech next year for sure is going to be ready for this game because that one stings. They ran for 260. They threw for 303. Look, Carson Beck was clutch. Look, Georgia Tech, I think, was the better team consistently, but that fourth quarter, Georgia in overtime, Georgia just would not be denied. Heck of a game, heck of a win. Saying they will not be denied. Georgia had some drops in the end zone, obviously. They just couldn't stop the run, which is concerning if you're going to this SEC title game, considering the way Texas just ran it. So, yes, that's concerning. Other results that happened, Oregon took care of business 49-21. That's Dan Lanning's first win against Washington. Well deserved. They're a Baylor 8-win season, taking care of Kansas, ending their hopes 45-17. Ole Miss taking care of business in the Egg Bowl. They didn't look impressive though. Nebraska and Iowa at the same time that Georgia Tech game was on played a really good game. Low scoring. Iowa won it though, 13-10. That rivalry always delivers. Colorado to 52-0. Again 52-0 against Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy, it might be over there. It might be over, but Colorado, great season. Obviously, you came up short and not getting to the championship game and everything. But great season. Now, Tuesday night, obviously, has come and gone, and let's talk about this joke. Let's start from 25. 25 is Memphis. 24 is Army. 23 is Colorado. 22 is Syracuse. Syracuse getting the love. 21 is Illinois. But look at that. Just those Illinois, Syracuse having great seasons. 20 is UNLV. 19 is Missouri. 18 is BYU. Look, I know they fell short. They're not going to make the playoff, but BYU win. BYU, fantastic season. 17 is Clemson. 16 is Iowa State. 15 is Arizona State. This is where things get interesting if you know what I'm about to say if you watch the reaction show. Coming in, we were talking about the bubble. Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, South Carolina. How would they seed it? South Carolina is 14. Ole Miss, 13. Number 12 is my freaking Miami. And number 11 is Bama, which means In the bracket, Bama just barely sneaks in. Look, people, Ole Miss and South Carolina fans are mad. South Carolina, you lost to Ole Miss and Bama. Sorry. Ole Miss fans being mad. Look, y'all can go cry me a river. 4-8 Kentucky at home. Even with that loss, if you have beat Florida, you were in. You lost to Florida. A lot of people say, hey, you're out. It's unfortunate. The real debate is Bama and Miami. Who do you think is better? Da-da-da. Miami didn't beat a top 25 team all year. Again, not their fault with scheduling. Not their fault. Bama lost to 6-6 Vandy and 6-6 Oklahoma. In 6-6 Oklahoma, they got drilled. Vandy, majority of that game, they were getting drilled. Miami lost a close game to Georgia Tech. Lost a close game to a 9-win Syracuse, who's in the top 25. So again, look, and obviously it depends on some results, but Bama being in over Miami, I don't agree with it. In terms of the three SEC teams, Bama wins the argument against Miami. I just don't know, man. But they could obviously both be out. Number 10 is Boise. Number 9 is Indiana. Number 8 is SMU. Number 7 is Tennessee. Number 6 is Ohio State. Number 5 is Georgia. Number 4 is Notre Dame. Number 3, Penn State. Number 2, Texas. Number 1, Oregon, as we know. This is what I wrote down after Saturday night's games had concluded. And this is not the top 25, but this is just teams who are winning in the bubble. This was after Saturday night. I said in. I said Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, IU, Tennessee, Ohio State still in. Those teams are in. I said winning in this week. The ACC champ, the Big 12 champ, and the Group of 5 champ. The loser of the Group of 5 game is done. The loser of the Big 12 championship game is done. And if Clemson beats SMU, this is where it gets interesting because War Manuel said SMU could drop below Bama if they lose their conference title game. What? I wanted them to be in this end thing, but knowing this committee, I don't think they are right now. Even though they should be, they're not. And that is frustrating. Because if you go to your conference title game, you should not be punished and drop out the playoffs for losing your conference title game. If you're in like the 12, and they're in their what I read off on their 8th, they're 8th. So you're gonna drop from 8th to like out because you lose in a conference title game and you're dropping behind teams, by the way, that didn't play. Bama didn't play. They have 3 losses. They didn't play. What? I don't get it. If they do that, this committee's a joke. I think SMU, if I was doing this committee, SMU being period, end of discussion. Period, in the discussion. In terms of the bubble, obviously Miami, Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, I said they'll value head-to-head, which means South Carolina out. Then the debate is Alabama, Ole Miss in terms of worst losses. Ole Miss, they have them. They did both beat Georgia. Ole Miss beat them by 18. Bama beat them by 8. But because that you lost to a 4-8 team at home. Ole Miss, that kind of disqualifies you. And now it's Alabama, Miami. I would have put Miami. They put Bama. It's whatever. Again, you're arguing for flawed resumes. It's whatever. I don't. The rankings. I don't like it. First of all, South Carolina beats Clemson, moves up one spot, but Clemson drops 5 for losing to South Carolina. I just need to know, is South Carolina good or not? That's all I need to know. Is South Carolina? Do you think South Carolina is good or not? That's all I need to know. Because moving them up 1 for beating Clemson, and then moving Clemson down 5 for them losing to South Carolina makes no, by 3 points, makes no sense to me. It just doesn't. Um, It just doesn't. Oh, Penn State ahead of Notre Dame. If you want to make the argument, oh, Penn State's better, fine. I don't think they are. I think Notre Dame should be ahead. Penn State. That's just me. Oh, Ohio State. Look. They should have dropped. I would have dropped them to 8 because like that loss was so bad, and you drop them 4 for only because, well, it was a rivalry game, lost to 7-1 Michigan, and you lost to the number 1 team in the country, Oregon, by a point. We're rewarding teams for losing by a point now. Crazy. To me, you drop them. SMU's 11-1, but they haven't shown SMU respect all year. In Tennessee, I mean, I guess we'll see because they'll potentially play in CFP bracket. It looks like that's what it's going to be because they don't play, and it looks like nothing's going to move to where they won't be matched up against each other. So, yeah, that is what it is at this point. I don't like. I don't like that. Those are my major issues with the CFP top 25. I just think it's a complete joke, honestly. I don't think it's good. By the way, if Boise wins, they clinch a first round bye, which will not make the bosses, excuse me, bosses at the Power Four conference level happy. It just won't. The argument becomes, okay, Big 12, Mountain West, who deserves it? Who's better? Who? And if we're taking strengths of schedule into account, to me, the winner of the Big 12 game is better. Obviously, we'll see. But yeah, Boise, if they lose, obviously the winner of the Big 12 game gets the first round bye and Boise's done. But I would like to see Ashton Genty in the playoffs and Boise in the playoffs. I would like to see that. Now I'll go to Iowa State versus Arizona State in a preview of the Big 12 title game and basically a playoff game. If you're asking me who I have in this game, I'm gonna be real. This one's tight. I think I have Arizona State. I think they're just a hotter team. I believe behind Scatterbo, they're gonna be able to ride this. They're gonna be able to ride this wave. I believe they match up well. I believe this is evenly matched of a matchup that you can have this weekend, but I will go Arizona State. I think Arizona State's really good. Obviously, Iowa State is too, but I think they find a way. I think this is probably a 30-27 type of game. I think it's close. Drama in the Big 12. I think Iowa State. I think Arizona State pulls it out over Iowa State. Boise State and UNLV, they already played. UNLV gave them all they can handle. They're going to give them all they can handle again. I just think Ashton Genty will be the difference. Look, in the first game, he didn't break that many big runs in terms of yardage, didn't have the type of game that. Think about it. His worst game, 127, is Back's best games in college. So, like, he's unreal. Again, they're gonna have to throw everybody in the box, try to stop Genty, and make Madison beat you in the pass game. Now, can they? I don't know. Cam Camper obviously is gonna have to play a big role. If I'm UNLV, I get that Boise State. That's just sound defensively. Um, Run the ball. You gotta have good balance. Obviously, you can't make you one dimensional, especially in this game. Think run the ball more too, just to keep Genty off the field. I think UNLV has a great shot in this game, but I'm not picking them. I'm going Boise here. I think they find a way to pull it out. Clemson and SMU in ACC title game. I love SMU, I do, but I feel like Clemson's gonna find a way to win this game. Um, when it comes to ACC title games, Dabo Sweeney, one of the best. With K Klubnik in that defense, that defense is going to give SMU mainly the front and their edge rushers. Clemson's going to give SMU all they can handle, all they can handle. All they can handle. Now, it's going to be a real. This game really interests me, basically because this is the chaos game. Whatever happens in this game, depending on the result, chaos breaks loose. I can't wait for it. I am going to take Clemson. I think K Club Nick makes a player too. I think Clemson's defense in front is the difference in this game. Give me Clemson Dabo Sweeney to beat Red Lashley and Co. in this game. Now we go to Georgia Texas preview. Not my game of the week. Game of the week is in Big Ten. 1 versus 3 to me, but 2 versus 5 rematch. If you watched in the fourth matchup, it seemed Texas was overwhelmed by Georgia, mainly the defense. The offense, look, look. People are gonna be like, they scored 30, bro. 4 of those drives were short fields. Texas, to me, just can't turn it over in this game. They'll be fine. Carson Beck is going to have to be the Carson Beck of old, or even the Carson Beck against Tennessee or late against Georgia Tech to win this game. I think that's where, because Texas matches up very well with Georgia, I think. I think you're going to see a lot of Arch Manning in this game in terms of third in short situations, in terms of that mobility. I don't know how Quinn Ewers' ankle sprain is holding up. I think Georgia is going to give Texas all they can handle, or Texas is going to give Georgia all they can handle in this game. I have no clue who's going to win this game. It's going to be fun. But I have to make a prediction. So I'm going to. I think them Texas boys. Who. Sark. I think this is a hump he's gonna have to get over. I don't think he gets over it this year. Give me the dogs to beat Texas. Give me the dogs 24, Texas 20. I just think they find a way, especially after last year getting to the game and losing it to Alabama. I don't think they go for it. And now for the game of the week, Penn State and Oregon. Oregon has struggled against the run this year. You got Nick Singleton, you got Kayshawn Allen. You bring the Primpelia, I think his name is, to come in and run. Sometimes, obviously, Allerton one. These are two great teams, two really good coaches that have similar narratives on them in terms of not being able to win the big games. This game is going to be great. 8 o'clock Eastern time, CBS from Indy Big Ten title game. Uh, in terms of who wins, I'm gonna lean Oregon in this one. I think they have the better quarterback in Gabriel. I just think up front they're gonna cause Penn State some issues. I love Penn State. I like Tyler Warren, but I just think defensively, Oregon up front, I think gives them issues. If they don't, then I think Penn State will win because I think if you watch the Ohio State game, Oregon's secondary can be had. They can be had. So yeah, I like Oregon in this game. I like Oregon in a close, hard-fought battle. I like Oregon 35, Penn State 27. Think Oregon takes care of business and clutches that number one seed for the CFP. All right. That is it, though. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you if you're for listening to the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna schedule the upload. Then I'm going to sleep. Until next time, I'll see you guys with my college football reactions to the conference championship games, and then on Sunday I will see you guys with reactions to NFL Week 14 and the CFP playoff bracket. Till then, see ya.